fat man. Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
Hey, yo, friends. Hey, yo, family. Welcome back. Another brand new week, brand new Monday, brand new year, brand new episode 145, correctly numbered for 2026. In Madness Pod, Shawn the Butcher, Vertebrae 33. Howdy.
I'm Vertebrae 33.
That's a good one. That was good. Now, can you do a Joker?
No, I don't know. Oh,
That's
I
a
got
good
a laugh
laugh.
one here. Yeah, I don't know. How are you?
I'm great. What are you immediately out of the gate? You're like, I want to talk about something. When we start this episode, we started. I'm very excited.
I know you want to do your intro, but before you
ahead.
do your intro, did you get the email? Did you see the email in your personal email?
When? Sent when?
Sent at 8:05 p.m.
Today.
tonight.
No, because I don't check my email. I don't check my email.
Godzilla
-0
to hit North American theaters November 6th.
Whoa. Well, no, I don't have that in my email at all. You sent it to me?
No, I figured you sign up for alerts.
Oh,
like
you're so funny.
Godzilla.
You're so funny.
Oh.
No, I'm not. So you know what? I'm telling you what, right now, I'm going to open up Instagram. Will it be the first thing that pops up?
Probably.
No, it's not. Oh, there it
Okay.
is. It's the second thing. There it is. Godzilla -0 with the
November
date.
3rd, it will release in Japan, which is a historical date because that's the date the 54 version was released in the theater. And then November 6th, it'll be North American release. Buckle up, Shawn. Here we go.
Godzilla, I love that it was the second post.
The second post. What was the first?
So it was wrestling. It was wrestling stuff. It was pretty.
Oh, I thought it was like an ad for.
No. That's great though. That's great news to start off episode 145 with. You got to come with me to see these Godzilla movies.
No promises. No promises given, but
we will be covering them on the pod.
We will cover that, and we will go back in and look at theories. I think I had some theories on what they could do or ideas. So we'll find out in short order. November 6th. Also, Shawn, just something else for the fall. And it's way early, but I got an email about it today. It's official that I will be back at New York Comic Con this October.
Boom.
Vertebrae 33 is returning. It's official.
Badass. We got to get a crew in there. We got to get you a videographer. I know just the guy. We got to get
makeup.
We got to get me. We're gonna get Psycho Ninja. We'll get Basil. It's gonna be another fun time in New York Comic Con. If I'm invited, Vertebrae has to invite me to these things.
You're perennially. I can't even say the word. How do you say that word?
Sandy King would be devastated if I was not there.
I can't even say it. Invited. Yearly.
She would be looking around, being like, "Where's the nice boy who does the interviews with me every year?"
Yeah. What's insane about that is you've met her like a ton of times now, and I haven't met her once. She thinks this is a one-man podcast.
Shout outs to Storm King Comics and close personal friend of the podcast, Sandy King and John Carpenter.
He's getting there, Shawn. We're getting closer. We're also getting one step closer to Stephen King. I feel it, Shawn.
You feel it? Yeah. Well, shout out to the voting poll. The polls are still open. You can still vote. The easiest way, it's hard for me to keep track of all these votes, all right? So if you're, a friend of the podcast and you're trying to make it easy for your boys, since this is a 2-man operation, we don't have a staff, just either in the post where we put up the voting poll in the comment, you can leave your comment, which counts as a vote, or send a DM and I will count that as the vote. But it's easier if you just comment in the post and keep it all in one spot. But yeah, you can vote for a cold weather movie. We have Frankenstein, the new one, Guillermo del Toro. We have The Shining, Stanley Kubrick, and we have Fargo, one of my favorite movies of all time. I had a Facebook memory pop up. I love checking my Facebook memories. It makes me feel so old. It was from 15 years ago, and it said, Fargo is the greatest movie of all time. And that was all I posted. And that was 15 years ago. And I if it doesn't get voted, it's going to be a Shawn pick throughout the year.
If you're new to the podcast, because we get new listeners when the year starts, Shawn's going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff in a second. But we often have listener polls so we can decide what movies we're going to talk about. This movie's locked in for the one we're doing right now. The next movie is locked in. This one is a Shawn pick. The next one is a vertebrae pick. Then it's a listener pick. All right, Shawn, take it away.
This is the premiere podcast, and there's a reason for it. In Madness Pod on all of the socials, no matter what the hell you have, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at In Madness Pod. You can email us, hit us in the mail sack, be part of our year in review, which we do now every year, or part of any weekly episode. We read emails, we listen to voice notes. In Madness Pod at gmail.com. You could check us out on YouTube. Vertebrae, see it if he's too light, if he's too dark, if he's too light, if he's too dark. On the YouTube page, make sure you like and subscribe, comment, give us the 5-star reviews. Check out the In Madness Spotify playlist, which I am adding the theme to this movie from immediately if it's not already on the In Madness Spotify playlist. Happy In Madness Monday. We drop a new episode every single Monday. Spread the madness. Tell everybody you know about this show. Don't just listen to me say it. Do it. Tell everybody you know about this show. Let them know that your boys are here every Monday, dropping brand new episodes, giving you something to look forward to when you wake up for that long ass week of work. You can get a shirt and get your extra credit and get your mug in madness.com. What mug do you have for this week, Ferdinand?
So for this week, Shawn, I got this Batman mug,
the classic.
And then the other side has like the old school Batman logo on it. It's pretty cool. However, if you notice very astutely, I'm not drinking from this mug. There's some odd little stain in the bottom of it that I just can't seem to get out. So I'm drinking from another mug, but I still have it for prop purposes. So if you're watching on YouTube,
so what's your real mug?
There's no bait and switch. So the real mug, I just got this dark, kind of dark night gray. I've had that one before. So that's my drinking mug. This is my Batman mug. I was very bummed. I scrubbed, and I can't seem to get this odd little gross stain out of it. But we are doing, Shawn, a film that you've wanted to do since we started this podcast. The moment we mentioned doing other movies besides horror movies, I think this is one of the first films you mentioned. Batman, 1989. Shawn, when did you first see this movie?
When it came out in theaters, which means your boy was 6 years old, and mom took me, and I have some accounts from before and after. A mind-blowing, what a time to be alive. Just a life-changing movie.
Incredible. Yeah. And I've mentioned it before in the podcast, but if you're new, I'll mention it again. I went opening night with friends of mine, a good friend of mine, Shawn, who often listens to the podcast, not Shawn the Butcher, but another Shawn. And we had our pictures taken and ended up in the Philadelphia Inquirer for opening night. I have to find that photo. It's a clipping somewhere along the line. We texted to each other, so I think I could find it for the
Tom Henderson's going to find it, or Melina Sormento's going to find it first.
Oh my God, could you imagine? But huge deal, Shawn. Directed by Tim Burton.
Heavy Tim Burton time on the In Madness Pod.
Oh yeah, we're on a roll. Score by Danny Elfman. Production designer Anton Furst. Some incredible production design on this film. $48 million budget, Shawn. Makes over $400 million. It's
deservedly
an absolute phenomenon, and it does something that I don't know that any movie has done since. Maybe it has, I'm not really sure, but it couldn't do it in this modern age. Around the same time, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids comes out.
What a time to be alive.
Everybody wants to go see Batman, so everyone goes to the theater. There's no buying tickets in advance. You got to wait in line and buy your tickets, right? Tons of people get there, and Batman sold out. What are they going to do? Let's go see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Literally, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids becomes its own huge movie just based off the fact that people couldn't get in to see Batman.
That's great.
Yeah. So this cast, Shawn, top billing for the cast is Jack Nicholson. He was on the poster. His name was on the poster. He was top billing as the Joker, kind of a dream casting for the Joker. Now, the Joker casting is interesting because they also considered Tim Curry, David Bowie, John Lithgow, Brad Dourif, Ray Liotta, James Woods, and Robin Williams, who lobbied very hard for this film and got very close to it, and then realized that the studio was playing him. They wanted Nicholson, and they used Robin Williams as bait. So pissed after that he refused to work with Warner Brothers ever again. Then they years later issued an apology to him, and he kind of worked with them on another film, but they had it pretty close. He was the number 2, but they used it to sort of, and they gave Nicholson this incredible contract, massive amount of money, certain shooting schedule notes for him. Like if the Lakers had a home game, he couldn't shoot, so he could go to the Lakers home game. So he had it all. The most controversial casting, though, Shawn, is Michael Keaton as Batman. This causes quite an uproar. You were probably too young. You just were going to see Batman. But this is a big deal. Other people considered for this role?
Schwarzenegger, probably.
Mel Gibson. Steven Seagal.
Oh, God.
Kevin Costner. Charlie Sheen. Tom Selleck. Harrison Ford. Dennis Quaid. And Bill Murray.
Wow.
And Bill Murray was really in the running kind of late. Pierce Brosnan was in the running for a little while. William Dafoe was in the mix. And Burton comes along because this film's going through a bunch of different phases. When they bring Burton into the film, he's going to bring Michael Keaton because he's worked with Michael Keaton before. And I can tell you this, Shawn, long before the internet, all the fans were pissed. Nobody wanted Mr. Mom as Batman. Nobody. Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale. Robert Wuhl as Alexander Knox. We've got Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. Billy D. Williams. Lando Calrissian himself as Harvey Dent. Michael Goff as Alfred. And Jack Palance. Is it Palance or Palance? I think it's Palance. As Carl Grissom does an incredible job. He once famously, he was in City Slickers, right? And he did one-handed push-ups on the stage at the Oscars. That's kind of ingrained in my brain for some reason. So we can't get into like the history of Batman. We're not going to try to, even when we did the Batman, we're not going to try to get into it. But this film is a huge deal. It's an incredible movie, but it's also a huge deal because Batman, the original comics, kind of a little darker. Then we get the Adam West TV show, and that's kind of what everybody wants to develop, is this Adam West version. And it kicks around. They start kicking these ideas around, Shawn, in 1979. So they've got a script that's kicking it down called Return of the Batman, and this is in 79. They want to do it for like a 4-part, like a TV thing for CBS and a bunch of stuff. At one point, the different writers are assigned. They start getting into, we want it to be like Superman. And I will tell you that some of that seems to have stayed in this film because there are a few Superman aspects to this movie. But they finally get behind it, and they do at a Comic-Con in New York. So this is the old school New York Comic-Con before it ended. They kind of announce it, but they've announced it before they really have nailed anything down. And then they complete a script in 83, and in the beginning there's possibly going to be Dick Grayson's origins, and they've got other people cast, and it kind of goes through a bunch of iterations, and then they end up on Tim Burton kind of after his financial success of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Is like, we got to get this guy, and they put this treatment together, and the rest is history. But what's interesting is later on in this whole franchise, because it was going to be 3 films by Burton, and it only ends up being 2. And then we make a wacky turn after that. They originally had cast Marlon Wayans as Robin in Batman Returns, which we'll probably get to someday. And because of the script being so crowded with the extra villains, they cut him, Shawn. But I'll mention this when we do the film, but he received payment and royalties for this role because it was so far into the thing that he continued to receive payment for being in a movie that he never appeared in. So this, Shawn, is the darker turn for Batman, and it's in the comics when we get the Dark Knight comic, and a lot of stuff is happening in 86 with the comics, and now we finally get it on screen, and a dream come true to a lot of the comic book fans. Absolutely.
Yeah, I could not wait. This was all the hype. All the kids were talking about it on the playground. Everybody wanted to see it. I already had like the Batman and the Superman toys, but the Batman with the sky blue and the gray, and you squeeze his legs and his arms move. And like I had all these toys as a kid, and now the movie was coming out, and this is right probably when I started going to see movies. So yeah, I'm ready to get into it. Are you?
And this merchandising, Shawn, for this film is way over the top. They are jumping
I had it
both
all.
feet into the
Pajamas,
deep
the
end.
t-shirts,
So I had a bunch of
sneakers.
stuff. I have to dig out and see what I still have left, because I definitely have some stuff in my basement. We had the cards. I know I have the comic adaptation. I do not, ironically enough, I do not have the score on vinyl for this. I believe I thought I had a making of book, but I couldn't find it. But I don't know. I have to look around. But the biggest bummer for me is at one point I had Converse, Batman Converse, and I hadn't bought worn them. They were just in the box, and I found them years later, and this was probably like at the inception of eBay, and I got excited at the idea that I could sell them, and I probably sold them for way less money that I could sell them for right now. Like I probably like 10 times the amount that I could sell them for right now. But I wish I still had them, because they probably fit. I could be wearing them right now, but I don't have them.
You're gonna send me a picture of them. We'll find it on Google and we'll post it on the InMed socials.
Yeah, if I knew I was gonna have a podcast like decades later, I would have kept them so I could
For
have
the
worn
prop,
them
yeah.
for this episode. I had no props for this episode except I wanted to be in the dark, but Shawn
And your
insisted
dirty
I
mug.
be in the light. Yeah, I just have a dirty, oddly stained mug. But we ready to go?
This is a very long movie, so I'm just gonna go
Yes.
right off the bat and say I'm cutting pretty much all of the Vicky Vale and Bruce Wayne love scenes, which got me down like 2 pages. So I feel like that's off. We're gonna have in this movie the Vicky Vale and Bruce Wayne lovey-dovey thing that goes back and forth. I want to love you. I can't love you. I want to love. That's all that. So that's a page.
And I have some Vicky Vale
Yeah,
stuff I need
I
to
have
get
a
off my
couple of Vicky
chest.
Vale, like
Yeah.
the things that like are involved with the actual story. I will
Mhm.
highlight. So yes, we're jumping back into Tim Burton, back into Batman. We covered the Batman in the very inception of this podcast. We
Mhm.
did that. And this is just going to be me gushing over Jack Nicholson for what will hopefully be maybe the next hour. I remember I saw this, I think it was Douglaston Theater, which was the theater we always used to go to. In the Douglaston Theater, there was the Toys R Us next door and the Burger King next to that. So you'd hit the trifecta. You'd go to Toys R Us, you get a toy, you go to Burger King, you get some food, and then you go see the movie. And that, I don't even know if that theater is still there anymore.
Mm.
Brings a tear to my eye even thinking about it. So it opens with this iconic intro from Danny Elfman. I'm adding it, if it's not already on the Id Madness Spotify playlist, I'm doing it right now. We got Gotham City, as always. We got a family of tourists making themselves obvious. They get robbed by some goons, and Batman is watching it all go down. When I was young, I didn't understand what was going on because I thought this family that was getting robbed, I thought we were starting with the Batman story, but it wasn't. It was like he was watching kind of what happened to him as a kid.
And I think that's kind of a little bait and switch. I think they did that on purpose because you think, oh, we're going to get his origin story right away. And instead we get it in flashbacks. Shawn, that opening sequence where the music is coming on and we're traveling through the title treatment and the logo. I remember sitting in the theater and I was absolutely blown away because right when the music hit and right when it says Batman, you're like, we're getting dark, tough Batman. Now, Michael Keaton, tough Batman, but the movie overall, right? Obviously, if you put it against the Batman, which is incredibly, incredibly dark, it's not there. But for what Batman was in pop culture, it was a boy, thank God this happened moment. And I can't believe this is happening. And it's happening with Tim Burton, for crying out loud. Yeah.
Batman attacks these goons. He wants them to tell all their friends about him. They say, "Who are you? What does he say, Vertebrae?"
I'm Batman.
Boom. He drops the dude. He spreads his wings and he flies off the roof.
How many times in your life have you said that?
I mean,
I think
everybody was saying it on the playground.
I think I say it now, like, on a regular basis. I know I've said it to, like, Mrs. Vertebrae, who loves this movie. Will say it just randomly, for, like, no reason. Just,
Aren't
like,
you happy
walk
I
into
picked
the
this
room.
movie instead of Mortal Kombat or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh, way, way, way better. Way
We
better.
got District Attorney Harvey Dent. Gotham is overrun with crime. Could you believe it? The mayor wants to take out crime boss Carl Grissom.
Mhm.
Jack Nicholson is watching this on TV laughing. He is Grissom's right-hand man, but also he's banging Grissom's lady.
Yeah, and, we get how disappointing is it, Shawn, that we are denied the eventual Billy D. Williams Two-Face? Right? Because it just doesn't happen, and they go in a different direction for Batman 3, and he wanted to do it, and when I saw this, I thought of that right away. I was like, "Oh, what a bummer, man." Like, that we could have had Lando playing Two-Face with the two faces. Oh, man.
Now, I could have cut this whole next part out of my notes. However, I love Lieutenant Eckhart too much to cut him out. He is
Mhm.
such a
Detective, right? Is it detective?
Lieutenant, detective, whatever he is.
Eckhart.
He is a grizzled mother effer. He's got this gravelly voice. He's chewing on his cigar.
Mhm.
He's getting hounded by Knox. Knox works for the papers. He's writing the story about this mysterious Batman that everybody's talking about. Eckhart meets with Jack, the gangster, Jack Nicholson, tosses him money. He's getting bribed. He doesn't want Harvey Dent in his business. And Eckhart says he's going to take it up with Jack's boss, who's Carl Grissom, not Jack, because him and Jack, these dudes hate each other.
Mhm.
Eckhart tells Jack he's got no future. He's too crazy. So Jack shoves him, and Eckhart pulls his gun. Jack doesn't move, doesn't need to, because in an instant, his boy Bob is right over his shoulder, pointing his gun at Eckhart. Jack laughs and walks away, and Eckhart goes, "Where you been spending your nights?" Such a sick line, such a sick
Mm.
scene, so awesome.
And Eckhart's a character that's been around in the comics and continues to be, and has been played in a different lot by different people, and is in the animated series as well. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of people kind of disappointed seeing Joker before he's Joker. Some people like the idea that he just sort of shows up like that, fully formed. But in this case, we start to get into how did each man, meaning Batman and Joker, become who they are, and they're paralleling each other as they go along. So we jump into fully formed Batman here. He's got all the equipment already, so it's not like Nolan where we're going to learn who he is in the backstory. And I can't believe I'm saying, but we got to get to all those movies too. This is crazy. This is going to
Maybe
become
we
a
hit one
Batman
this year.
podcast.
It'll be a
But
vertebrae pick.
but we're jumping in and kind of telling the story back. And, for a film that comes out in 1989, that's a comic book film. What a fantastic way to go about it, to kind of just tease us. I will say the Vicky Vale character who we're about to meet, as long as Knox, a very, very heavy Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen vibes for both of them. In this case, they're flip flopping. That Knox is the reporter, and she's the photographer, and it's flip flopped from Lois and Olsen. But I think some of that lived from kind of some original scripts there.
We got the 200th anniversary of Gotham happening, and the mayor wants a big ass party. So
Mhm.
back at the newspaper room, all the dudes are making fun of Knox and his bat story, but at his desk is his pair of long legs, which belong to photographer Vicky Vale. She believes Knox's Batman story. She wants to get pictures of the Batman, and she happens to have an invite to Bruce Wayne's party where Knox can go around snooping and dig up some info.
And then she's like, "I'm Vicky Vale. I like Batman." That song.
What song is that?
It's on the soundtrack.
I
It's
don't
one of
know which
the
one it
yeah, one
is.
of the mix songs. It's like one of the Prince jams. Yeah.
We already have one of the Prince jams. I have to get the rest of the Prince jams, especially when he's throwing the money around, because that is one of the best. So
Party
now,
Party Man or whatever it
yeah,
is. Yeah.
so we got Boss Grissom. He's in trouble with this company, Access Chemicals. Jack tells him his plan. He wants to break in, destroy all the documentation leading back to Grissom. Grissom agrees, but he wants Jack to handle this. At that moment, Jack pulls a Joker out of his deck of cards.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
Grissom's lady then enters the room. She looks at Jack, and Jack smiles, and Grissom watches Jack. He is 100% on to them.
Yeah, what a mess.
Jack tries to get out of this job, but Grissom insists he cover it. He says, "You are my number one guy."
It was Shawn. The song was Bat Dance. Do you remember the Bat Dance song?
No, is that the Batootsie?
No, that was the Bat Dance when
No, I
the
don't know
Vicky Vale mix, and they keep cutting it. So I'm Vicky Vale, Vicky Vale, Vicky Vale. They
Oh,
say it over and then she goes, "I like," and then it goes Batman.
I guess I'll add that to the In Madness playlist. So he tells Jack not to forget his lucky deck. He takes all of his cards and blasts them into his hat. Jack leaves, and Grissom immediately picks up the phone, calls Eggheart, and rats out Jack.
Yeah, what a mess. Poor dude. But already wearing like the suits, like he's got the purple suit on and stuff. So he's already kind of some of that character, very reminiscent of what they do with the Penguin in the Penguin TV series for the new version of the Batman. That a lot of this stuff exists in this person already.
So we're at Axis Chemicals. Eggheart is there with cops telling him if they see Jack, shoot to kill. Jack and his goons are breaking open the safe, but the safe is empty, so Jack knows he's in trouble. And here come the cops firing at Jack and his boys. Pew, 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 pew. All the classic 90s shooting sound, 80s sound effects.
Yeah, they use the classic sounds in this.
The Wilhelm screams of
probably
gunshots.
from a million westerns too, right? Yeah.
Jack escapes. He starts messing with all the levers in the factory, and all the papers are flying everywhere. Everything's going haywire. And here comes Batman to the rescue. Jack's going to pop Commissioner Gordon till Batman intervenes. But once again, out pops Bob, who puts a gun to the commissioners and tells Batman to let Jack go. Jack points his gun. His Eggheart tells him to think about the future and pops a cap in his big ass. Batman comes back and Jack shoots at him.
And Shawn, just back up a little bit. We had that whole party at Wayne Manor, and we have like the casino stuff there. And there's a long scene where they go with Knox and Vicky Vale go into this room of all this really cool armor. And they talk about how insane this rich guy must be and how sad he is. And he's behind them, but he meets Vicky Vale, but he doesn't identify himself. And then in there, he kind of like identified as himself a little bit. So we're certainly getting a perception of him as being an odd dude. I don't think as far as it is portrayed now, but Batman being like off and a little weird, I think really just lends itself to the whole idea of this dude who's going out at night dressing like a bat. You got all this money and you got this grudge that you're holding forever. And so I think that's really cool that they sort of are okay with making him be a little bit, broken in this. It's very interesting.
After Jack kills Eggheart, he goes to shoot Batman, and Jack takes a shot at him. Which, my friends, brings me to my milking of the alpacas moment.
Milking of the alpacas moment.
Because Batsy, he deflects it with his little forearm shield, and it ricochets off Jack's face. Blood shoots everywhere. Jack falls over the railing over a vat of these chemicals. Batman grabs him. Jack's face is fucked up. And then Jack gets dropped into the chemicals. But is Batman trying to help him, or does Batman drop his ass into the chemicals?
I think he's trying, and he slips out of his hand.
Doesn't seem that way in the movie.
I think. He's got an intense look on his face. Listen, I don't think there's any way. Why would he want to kill him at this point? He doesn't know who he is. I think if he knew who he was, it'd be a little more. I don't know. I never.
Batman's trying to take control of Carl Grissom's empire. He's trying to take Jack out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for a dude who doesn't use guns and stuff, I don't know. I don't know.
He drops Jack into this massive vat of green, gooey chemical. We see two massive chambers dumping this chemical into the water, and up floats the deck of cards, and slowly a twisted, gloved hand with white flesh, green fingernails, the beginning of the Joker.
Yeah. What does this place do, this Axis chemical, Shawn? What is that green vat? Like, why would you have what does that do? Is
They're
that
making
like
Godzilla.
Oh.
This acts of chemicals. It's just like, yeah, it's just greed and like all things bad and evil. It's like the
Yeah, I bet it's like I mean, it has that sign, but there it says like 0 days since the last accident. Like they just have an accident all the time in that place.
Yeah, it's like the Springfield power plant with Homer. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got 3-eyed fish swimming around outside.
100%. Yeah. So Jack's at the surgeon, this underground surgeon. He tears off all the bandages from his face, and Doc is horrified. He's like, mirror, mirror, which is also another great scene that they did in The Simpsons when Lisa gets her braces and she gets the worst braces. And they do this exact same scene where she's in the chair. She's screaming for the mirror. Jack gets the mirror, looks at himself, breaks it, and starts laughing maniacally, which is what Lisa does at the dentist. It's absolutely classic.
But you skip the dinner scene. I know you're skipping through some of the Vicky Vale stuff, right? But they got this big dinner scene, and Bruce Wayne's having her over, and they get the please pass the salt, and they're at this massive table. My idea, Shawn, of an incredible dining room where I could sit like
As
9
far as
miles
possible, yeah.
from the other people at the table. You're not going to hear any chewing. You're not going to hear, you're just what? And you just move forward. It's fantastic. That is the perfect dining room table. That is also a joke that I have made for years, and I've done it with my wife, where I'm like, I'm going to sit down the end of the table here with this is like Batman's dining room table or something. Could you? And I always say, like, could you please pass the salt? It's just kind of like a running gag. This movie has integrated itself into my life on many levels.
I have salt as like a sidearm, and I could take it and I fucking whip it, and then I could hit it. I just got 3 new salts for Christmas. I got a bacon salt, I got a truffle salt, and I got a garlic salt.
What?
Yeah, and I carry it on me like my wallet, and I
Oh
can.
my God.
Yeah,
You're like Salt Man. If you were a superhero, you'd be Salt Man.
Yeah.
Salt Man.
Grissom isn't home in his PJs, and in walks Jack. Grissom knows his number is up. He begs Jack to make a deal, and he says, Jack is dead. You can call me Joker. He then has the time of his life shooting Grissom.
Yeah, he's dancing around, laughing. Like, this is a very dramatic scene. This is moments like this. You're like, man, Jack Nicholson is spot on.
The guy.
Yeah.
Joker looks over his new domain, Gotham, and there's a newspaper covered in blood on Grissom's desk. Batman terrorizes Gotham. Joker smears the blood all over the paper and says, wait till they get a load of me. Then starts humming and booping to himself, and then laughs like a maniac.
Yeah, the booping is like the
so good. And he's like looking around, boop. And then he just starts like laughing. It's so good. Now Joker's addressing all the mobsters, like Top Dollar and the Crow. Joker's telling them all he's in charge until Grissom gets back from his vacation.
Right. And if you love stories, which we're cutting out of this, we've got a whole bunch of Vicky Vale and Batman stuff going on, and they sleep together, and then he wakes up in the middle of the night. It is cool. He's hanging upside down on that thing like a bat. That's kind of neat. But I think Shawn is going along the theory with this film, much like some fans reacted to this film when it came out, and a lot of people loved it. And a lot of people really did not like the Vicky Vale character at all.
Not necessary in our In Madness notes. Not for me.
Yeah.
You can highlight the parts that you like him sleeping upside down. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And then that salt at the table. But I'm saying, I think that what we're doing now is kind of like there was a big perception. A lot of people were just sort of unnecessary. There's a part with her later on, which is my least favorite part.
Skipped over that part as well. When it pops up, you can
not good.
Joker's telling all the mobsters he is in control of all of Grissom's properties and businesses. The mobsters are not with it. Joker tells him, well, then you can shake hands and leave. And he goes to shake this one guy's hands and he fries the dude with his hand buzzer.
It makes hilarious, very comic booky, makes no, I gotta call it out, Shawn, makes no actual sense. I'm not even sure
It's the
what
gag. It's the
happens.
hand buzzer electric.
I know, but he kind of like, yeah, I don't know how that electronics work there.
Well, that's
but
the
it's
thing. It's
pretty
a comic book, and you're not supposed to
Yeah.
know. You gotta
Yeah, no, I
suspend your
know, but
disbelief.
I've called it out on other movies, right? So it's gotta,
I
what's
love
fair
it.
is
I
fair.
love the way he goes about doing most of his business. It's always like something with a little bit of humor.
Yeah.
Calls over Bob. He wants Bob to follow Knox. He wants him to find out what Knox knows about the Batman. But before Bob goes, Joker grabs him and just like Grissom, he says, "You are my number one guy." Then he starts talking to this dude's corpse he just fried, acting like the corpse is telling him to kill all of the mob guys. And he looks at the corpse and he says, "You always were a vicious bastard. I'm glad you're dead." And then he just laughs his ass off all the way out the door, screaming, "I'm glad you're dead." So he steals every scene that he is in. Jack Nicholson is the best. It's going to be a heavy Jack Nicholson time in Madness Pod, I'm sure.
This is the we're calling this episode the Joker cut of Batman.
Yeah. It's just me worshiping everything Jack Nicholson does. The mob bosses are being questioned. They claim Grissom gave them all of his businesses. A mime creepily walks by. More mimes start popping by. And there's Bob, Joker's crony, taking pics because we got Bruce Wayne and Vicky are in the crowd of this whole questioning that's going.
She follows him and we see him put some roses down, Shawn, where we find out later on that's where his parents were killed. And she's following him and taking pictures. And these are some of the worst mimes ever, by the way, too.
They're gangsters. They're killers for Joker.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's funny about it is they're trying to like, oh, I'm gonna act like a mime. This is very much their version of boop boop boop.
Knox asks the mob bosses if they have Grissom's signature. They say everything's legit, and out of the crowd pops Joker, who says it is all legit. I saw it go down. He reached up with his dead hand and signed it with his own blood. And he did it with this pen. And then he launches the pen like a dart into this mob dude's neck, killing him on the spot, and goes, "The pen is truly mightier than the sword." Guns go off, total havoc, crowd disperses, insanity.
And in this scene, Bruce Wayne is walking. His shoulder gets hit, like his jacket
gets clipped with like a bullet.
Right, but on the jacket, but like he's just frozen and he's walking towards it. And it's definitely like this dude who just put flowers in the spot where his parents were gunned down. And then now this is happening. Like I love that part because he doesn't know how to react because he is a flawed human being. He's a superhero in some ways, but just like the rest of us in other ways. And he's frozen. These people get, shot and all this stuff goes down and he doesn't know what to do. It also is almost like he needs all of that stuff that he wears, all of those wonderful toys to be able to react to it, right? That's not only his physical armor, but his mental armor to deal with this anguish that he's gone through. And I thought that was really interesting. Rather than have him try to kick into gear and take some people out, he's just horrified by everything.
Then we get one of my favorite parts in this whole movie. TV showing the mayor and Harvey Dent being interviewed. They're asking about this big ass party they want to throw, and they're asking about Batman. This giant boxing glove smashes the TV. Mm-hmm. Joker's there talking to Bob. He goes, "What is going on in this world when a man dressed like a bat is getting all my press?" And then he goes, "This town needs an enema." Takes a little party horn and goes, bleep, bleep, blows it at Bob. I love a mini story on the Bob and Joker past and current relationship. It feels there's like some wholesomeness to it.
Yeah, that's his that's his right hand man. But Bob's like his personal assistant. It doesn't end well for Bob, but
If you love something, let it go.
Mm.
On the nightly news, we find out 2 models have died. One of the news anchors then begins laughing their ass off. Everyone is freaking out. On the screen pops up Joker. He put this chemical into people's grocery items, and we see the news anchor on the floor with a huge smile on her face.
Mm-hmm.
The gag Joker has now played is that nobody knows what items these chemicals are in. So no one is using deodorant or soap or makeup. So now all the news anchors look like absolute shit. Their hair's a mess. You can see their zits on their face. Nobody's shaving. It's hilarious. It's a great gag.
Yeah, and also Shawn. So we do get this whole thing about the photographs and Joker's cutting out all these photographs, and we've
Falling
got the
in love with
photograph of
Vicky
Vicky
Vale.
Vale, and yes, and we've got her looking at photographs that she took of Bruce Wayne and kind of trying to figure this out, and he's got these photographs spread out all over the place, and he kind of dances around. It's yes, he's falling in love with Vicky Vale. Shawn is not falling in love with Vicky Vale, but
No, I'm skipping all. So we got Vicky is at the museum because she's supposed to be on a date with Bruce Wayne. But in walks the Joker. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence, and then Lawrence, my man, hits play on the massive boombox, triggering another favorite scene of mine. Prince's party man begins blasting. The gang's tearing up the museum, dancing, knocking over statues, painting over priceless artifacts, having a blast.
Yeah, and then he also in that scene famously, they're destroying all of the stuff, and he stops them from destroying one of them, and he's like, "I like that one," and that's Francis Bacon's figure with meat, famous painting. There's also a Joker. They paint something to look like a Joker. And it looks very much like the Cesar Romero Joker from the Batman TV series. It's very interesting. I love that he's looking through like stuff and he's like crap, and I was like, I had flashbacks to like when I would show people my portfolio. You know what I mean? Like it was like crap. It was this is there are quite a few classic scenes in this movie, but this is kind of one of the big ones right here that everybody sort of recites, and the song was I think it was a big hit, this Party Man song.
Everything Prince does is a big hit. But yeah, I love this whole scene. And yeah, I'm gonna put the painting of the one that he didn't want to destroy up on the In Madness socials. Yep. He arrives at Vicky's table. He tells her he is the world's first fully functioning homicidal artist. He creates art until people die. He says, I want my face on the $1 bill. And Vicky's like, are you joking? And he's smiling huge. He goes, does it look like I'm joking? And she kind of's like, yeah. Great scene. One of her best parts in the movie.
The most insane thing about part of this that he does here, Shawn, is that he continues to put the flesh-colored makeup over what his face looks like, which just makes him look even stranger. Like at least with the makeup, you can kind of be like, oh, you're doing like a clown thing or something. And I think it's almost more horrifying when he looks like that than with the clown makeup.
Joker wants Vicky to join him to photograph his art. He brings Grissom's girl over to the table. She's wearing a mask. She shows her face to Vicky, and it looks like she was hit in the face with acid. So Vicky panics. Joker shoots acid at her with his little posy. She grabs a hold of a water jug and throws it in his face, and he begins overacting, screaming, I'm melting, covering his face, and he turns his back to Vicky. He turns around and goes, boo. And at this exact second, Batman crashes through the roof glass. The two face off again. It's great confrontation. Batman lifts his gun looking device and puts it right in Joker's face, but it shoots a grappling hook in both directions, and Batman and Vicky escape, giving us the iconic line that everybody was saying on the playground. Where does he get those wonderful toys? High-speed chase through Gotham. Batman gets Vicky to safety, kicks all the bad guys' asses. She's taking some pictures of the action. Batman takes her to the Batcave. He's got the scoop on the Joker's poison plan. He gives her all the files and says, take them to the newspapers. He drops her off at home, but he also takes the film that she was taking photographs with.
Yeah, so a couple things. One, the museum they're at is the Flugenheim Museum instead of the Guggenheim Museum. Pretty great.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Also, at this point, Shawn, we start to hit a point in the film where some things start to bother me about this Vicky Vale. And I will say one is, he spent all of this time, presumably he's not in year 1, he's probably in like year 4 or 5, fighting crime, hiding out, being this mysterious dude in the dark, and nobody's really seen him. They think he's draining people's blood, right? There's all these stories, but because of her, he's just out in the open and racing the car around and leaving the car out, and it just starts to get a little weird. And then he takes her back to the Batcave, which is like, what the heck's going on? I mean, earlier we had Alfred telling him, oh, it's nice having her around and it's nice, whatever. But this is one of the things that sometimes happens with these films is they feel the need to squeeze stuff in. We've had hundreds of issues of this comic before they got there. And he has gone how long without like giving up his identity or taking somebody to home base. Like, I just think that this is where the romance part, it gets a little, I'm okay with the romance in the film, but it gets a little too much. Like, I know we get the kitschy thing at the end where he puts up his cape, like they're going to get it on, but he really took the film and she wakes up in bed and everything. But I think that for me, he's too quick to want to reveal everything to a girl that he went on they've been on one date together. One date that we've seen, so we got to assume that's the only date they had. Has he not met any other girls all this time? This billionaire,
he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
So now Batman has saved the day, so Joker is pissed. Bruce pays Vicky a visit. He's trying to tell her he's Batman, but unsuccessfully because the doorbell rings and there's Joker. He tells Vicky, his lady, Grissom's girl, threw herself out of a window, and he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah, and that scene, Shawn, where he's hemming and hawing about whether he's going to tell, he's trying to get it out about telling her he's Batman and stuff. I'll tell you that is, when that movie came out, that was the #1 hated scene by anyone in my age group at that time. There's no way he needs to tell her that at all. It's not life and death that he tells her. It's actually putting her in harm's way if he tells her. So, yeah, big dislike on that part.
Out pops Bruce. Joker is not pleased. Bruce gives us the classic line, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts," and tries to fight the Joker. So he pulls out a gun and he asks Bruce if he's ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight. Bruce is intrigued by this line till Joker pops a cap in his ass and leaves. Vicky goes back to check on Bruce. Bruce has vanished. She goes over to see the gift that Joker's brought her, and out pops a hand at full speed with some dead flowers, and she faints on the floor.
Yeah, I don't know why he'd open the box. Also, he gets hit. He gets hit with the bullet, but it's because he took like some plate, the tray that he puts in there that kind of blocks it. It's funny because I don't know. Yeah, I think you're doing the right thing by skipping through some.
Good. On the TV, the mayor is mad. Now they got to cancel the big party they were planning in Gotham because they can't guarantee anybody's safety. But once again, Joker takes control of the broadcast. He tells Gotham at midnight he's going to dump $20 million in cash on the streets as him and Batman duke it out.
And this mayor is very Ed Koch, right? He looks very Ed Koch.
And he's got the flesh makeup on again.
Yeah.
Bruce has a flashback of the night his parents died, the one that gets shown and explained in every single Batman movie. However, this time he remembers the killer asking, "Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?" and connects the dots, placing Joker as the man who killed his parents.
Yeah. Also a part that not that crazy about, because it makes the world so small and so tight that that wasn't in the comics. There's just kind of no reason. I think we get into trouble when we over-explain things a little bit. Now, I will say this movie had some heavy lifting in 1989, right? This needed to be a hit. Warner Brothers was banking on it. The merchandise was banking on it. So I think they had to make sure they explained things to people in clear ways that they'd go back and see it. But I think anyone who was already riding along with the comic before this happened is riding the wave of, The Dark Knight and Frank Miller and all this stuff doesn't really need these pieces, But again, Shawn, this is a movie. You got to get people in the theater. They got to have a great time. They gotta eat popcorn, the whole bit. So
Milk duds.
yeah, Shawn loves the milk duds. You got to go to the bathroom.
I'm a Junior Mint guy.
So you gotta go to the bathroom 6 times during
12
the film.
times. I miss the weapons plot. I miss everything. The Batmobile hauls ass into Axis chemicals, dropping bombs, shooting missiles, blowing the place to high hell. But Joker is out on the streets of Gotham, throwing his own party with these big ass balloons like the Thanksgiving Day parade. Another great Prince song is blasting. The streets are flooded. Joker and his goons start raining money down on the street, and the crowd goes wild.
But before that, Shawn,
hit me.
Alfred brings Vicky Vale into the Batcave.
Party foul.
Unforgivable move by Alfred.
Fired.
I was also always mystified by those glasses that Batman had on him that look hook all the way around the ear when he takes them off that one part. I don't know why. And then I was watching it the other night with Mrs. Vertebrae, and he's like, wow, Michael Keaton has such small ears. He kind of noticed it in that scene, and he can't look away. But I don't understand, after all these years of doing this, I think if you were given a reason by Alfred to make this move with Vicky, to have her come in, maybe if there's some other impetus behind it, maybe Alfred's sick and dying and he feels like, Bruce Wayne needs somebody else to take care of him, or there's some other kind of connection. But after all these years and all the women he's presumably met or maybe fallen in love with or partied with or whatever the case is, Alfred decides this is the one, and I'm going to just stride her right into the Batcave, and let's just reveal all of this, Shawn, to a woman earlier who was so into taking photographs that when Batman saved her, she was up above him taking photographs down on him instead of worrying about, she can't really save him, but they were about to take his mask off, and she's like, I gotta get photos of this. I just think that this is a very, interesting move. It didn't strike me at the time. It kind of did strike me. I was older than you. Did you even notice this? That they're just going to give away Batman?
I don't even remember if it really hit me, if I even knew what was really going on. But it's funny because when it does happen, Bruce looks at her and then he looks at Alfred and just with his eyes goes, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. I just think, I don't know. I feel like Alfred fell in love with her more than Bruce Wayne did a little bit.
At one point, Bruce goes, "Why don't you marry her, Alfred?"
Yeah. It's very interesting. I think if there was a clock on Alfred for some reason, I think that would have been a little easier to swallow. Like, there's a reason. It gets even crazier that we would do all this when we get the next movie in Batman Returns, and Vicky Vale doesn't matter.
There's a reference to her in it, though.
Yeah.
So Joker's on the street with his big ass balloons, throwing money everywhere, and then he lets everyone in on the joke. And now comes the part where I relieve you, the little people, of the burden of your failed and useless lives. But, as my plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go with a smile.
Mm-hmm.
And he unleashes poison attached to all these balloons, and he's poisoning and killing everyone out on the streets grabbing money. Total havoc.
What I want to know, Shawn, is I got to know some logistics.
Where'd he get
How quickly were they able to get these balloons made? They got these special gas masks. They got all this stuff.
He's got
they made the cake. Is Bob there leading a crew of people that are building the cake? Is there
floats?
They got jackets with a logo that somebody designed
Joker
on
jackets,
it, right? Yeah, and also, like, these are, I don't know. These are some weak. Besides Bob, there's some weak henchmen.
It's the old school Batman, like in Adam West days,
right? And that's what's interesting. That's what's interesting about this, right? Is it does, with some of these parts, it does ride that line.
The guy's got the swords. He's spinning the swords for like 5-6 minutes, and then Batman kicks him in the face, and he's done.
Yeah. It's very, very, very interesting. This movie is all filmed on a set, Shawn, so it has such an interesting look to it. It has a very, it's supposed to take place in the 40s, and it has this just interesting look to it where it's like those old films where you knew it was a set, you knew it was a matte painting in the background, but it was still okay, and it just was, I don't know, it just works for this movie. It's very interesting that they do this, and then we sort of, when we get Batman the animated series, they go in and do an older style of animation for the Batman series. It's pretty cool. I'm very inspired at that. Right, there's Danny Elfman music all over the Batman the animated series too.
One of the
But there's all
greatest
that money,
of all
Sean. Are
time.
you there going for all this money?
I mean, Gotham's greed. I mean, that probably no, because if somebody came on TV right now and said, "I'm throwing 20 million out on the streets of Times Square," would I go to Times Square for it? No, absolutely. I wouldn't go there for the ball dropping. I wouldn't go there for the parade. No, because I would be like, I wonder what the fuck's really going to happen. And when all the gas lets loose, I'd be like, you see, I knew it. No one gives away money for free.
I would tell you, nothing good comes from going outside.
Poor vertebrae. See? Here comes Batman in with the Batwing. I had this toy. I had every toy from this movie. Everything that was released, mother got it, and it was a Christmas gift, a birthday, everything. I had all the Batman toys.
Had? Why are you saying had?
Gone, all of them.
Gone.
I don't even have one of those toys left. No, yeah, gone. I had the Bat Cave, the one that opened up. Gone.
Oh,
I had the many Batmobiles, the regular Batmobile, the missile.
You got it.
Batmobile.
I think you got to find yourself we got to get you the Batcave. It's got to be on eBay.
And I follow all these old accounts on Twitter that like just post 1990s toys. And there was a Joker motorcycle that had his face on it where you hit a button.
Yes, I remember that.
Had that, gone. I had and like it just hurts me like every time I see these posts. I'm like, oh, I had that and I forgot about it. And it's like it's gone. I don't know who has it. Probably in a landfill in Staten Island somewhere. Gone forever.
Let's all chip in and get Shawn the 1989.
I got enough shit.
Batcave playset by Toy Biz, $269.
Oh God.
Oh, there's one $198
I had
on
all
eBay.
These toys. I'll post some of the toys on the socials if I can find them.
It's in the box, Shawn.
I know.
It's in the box.
Batman gathers all the poison balloons with the Batwing and flies them all up in the clouds, cuts the cord and sends them floating off into space. Joker is pissed. He stole my balloons. Why didn't someone tell me he had one of those things?
Yeah.
He asks Bob for his gun and shoots Bob. Poor Bob. Immediately, Joker sort of feels some regret. He's killed his best boy, Bob. He loved Bob, but Joker's a freaking psychopath. He tells his goons he's going to need a minute to gather himself.
Yeah, just like Darth Vader, he takes people out for not doing their job efficiently. Yep.
Joker's in the middle of the street. The Batwing is headed right toward him. He goes, "Come on, you gruesome son of a bitch." Batman fires all his weapons he's got, but Joker doesn't flinch. He's not scared because he's friggin' crazy. He pulls this enormous gun out of his pants, pops the Batwing, and it goes crashing into this church.
It's so silly, the gun. I don't know how he was walking around with this
every
giant gun
every gag he has is great.
But we realize it actually goes longer and shorter, right? It's like telescoping, so...
Joker takes Vicky Vale as his hostage, and they head to the top of this church, and Joker sicks his goons on Batman, and he whoops all of their asses.
Yeah, we head into the Gotham Cathedral. I'm pretty sure that The Crow was inspired by this Gotham Cathedral. And we're about to head towards the end of this movie already.
Let's do it. Let's do it. See what happens when you can cut out all the bullshit. This is how we do it. Oh, God. Batman finds Joker. Batman says casually, "Excuse me, you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" and punches Joker in the face. The two were duking it out. Joker spits out a fake pair of chatter teeth that are going, they're hopping all over the ground. He punches Batman and he hurts his hand. Batman tells Joker he killed his parents. Joker puts on these glasses and says, "You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?" Batman decks him in the face. Joker falls over the ledge. He pulls Batman and Vicky off the ledge as well. Joker standing on this platform as Batman and Vicky are hanging below.
Yeah, and so also too... there's the bell that comes down in the cathedral, and then the commissioner goes over and he just tries to push it by himself, and he's like, "Oh, it doesn't work. We can't get up there. Oh well." And they just shine some lights up instead. And then when he says you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, Batman said never hit a man with glasses in the TV show. So it's like a nod to something that was said in the 1966
I
TV
have a
show. There's few
Funko
little
Pop
nods.
of that scene right here. Check this out on the YouTube. I'll post a picture of it on the socials.
Nice.
He's
Look at
knocking
that.
the glasses off his face. How cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That's like the one Batman thing I have. Actually, I have a couple of other Batman and Joker things, but whatever. Joker's crew flies up in the helicopter and they drop him a ladder, and Joker bids Batman adieu. As Joker's floating away, he's holding on to the ladder. Batman launches his grappling hook. It wraps around Joker's leg, and the other part wraps around this giant gargoyle, which gets pulled off the ledge and is now pulling on the Joker's leg. He is slowly falling off the ladder like Hans Gruber. Joker plummets to his death, and Batman saves the day.
Yeah, I mean, we use a lot of this in the Nolan Batman, right? He borrows a lot from these scenes, some of these scenes, scene in the road with the Joker, and then right here as well. There's original, you were going to finish it, and then there was a kind of an original ending we can talk about too.
Below Joker is planted in the concrete. In his pocket is his laughing voice box. Because Joker always gets the last laugh. Commissioner's giving a press conference telling people they arrested all the Joker's goons. They got a letter from Batman saying he's going to help Gotham fight the forces of evil. Knox asks, "How do we call him?" And Commissioner goes, "He gave us a signal." They blast the bat signal into the sky. Camera rises above Gotham. Epic goddamn theme is playing, gigantic, grandiose, and there's Batman standing with the bat signal. Fade to black. The end. Greatest movie of all time. Into the Batman theme. So epic. I left this theater as a 6-7-year-old kid wanting to be Batman, wanting every toy, wanting every game, every Christmas present, every birthday present. Something was Batman. This like molded my childhood. This was the perfect movie, and I loved it.
Yeah, fun movie.
We hit it in an hour. We hit it
in an hour, but you skipped. You skipped some of the subtlety.
There was like no major. It didn't. It wasn't major to the
some
plot.
Of the nuance of it, but we did hit it in an hour. So I'm proud of you guiding us through that in an hour. Not the greatest film of all time in my book, but a fantastic film. And Shawn, this fight scene at the end where Batman is bleeding and the Joker is bleeding, I will tell you that was a very big deal in 1989. Very big deal, because previously we'd seen Batman as Adam West. We'd also seen a live action, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it was almost like a live action Justice League special that was on CBS. And if you've never seen it, you need to find it on YouTube and watch it. Adam West is in that as well, but it has a whole thing. The Flash is in there, all these other characters. It's incredibly, incredibly goofy. So this is what people see. The comic is a little bit darker, the original comic, but still doesn't have blood in it like this. So this starts to become the right on the edge of the 80s and into the 90s. And this sort of like ushers in that time where things start to get a little bit darker and a little bit edgier. And the original ending that they talked about for this was a little bit different, and it would have had, and Shawn would have loved this, ladies and gentlemen. The Joker would have killed Vicky Vale, and Batman would have pushed and killed the Joker in retaliation for that. And Tim Burton did not like the idea, and he wanted to keep Vicky Vale alive, which becomes troublesome because at the end of this film, Alfred pulls up and she gets in the car and says he's going to be home late. So presumably now they're a couple.
They're a thing.
And they're just hanging out, and that's incredibly unsafe for him and her. And we've gone all this time in the comics and the history of Batman without him having this girlfriend. And I just think that there was, in light of what takes place later on too, there was almost no reason for this to happen. I think they could have had a connection to each other, and that would have been fantastic. But I don't think they needed to end up being like a couple at the end of this film.
Which is why we didn't need it on In Madness Pod. So technically, the podcast that we did about this movie was better than the movie.
Well, so this is an interesting movie in a lot of ways because there are things when you watch it now in your modern eyes that kind of fall apart, but there's such a heavy nostalgia for it, right? And when you saw it, and you cannot take away the seismic shift in these types of films when after this comes out. After this film comes out, that we see other darker films come out with superhero characters in them, and this ushers in that era. And it's, you know, it's almost like every period of time for people, there's their Batman. We kind of go through a period of time, and you and I are lucky to have been through a few periods of time.
And
Neither of us
cover
are
them
old.
all. We've covered 2 so far.
I mean, neither of us are old enough to have seen the Batman TV series originally. We saw it in repeats.
The repeats on Channel 9
Right.
or whatever, Channel 11.
Yeah, but we still absorb that material. Then this becomes our Batman, and then Batman goes off the rails completely after Batman Returns, and I love Batman Returns, but after that, we just get a complete mess, and Val Kilmer and all this other stuff going on.
My ace up my sleeve was dropping this episode now, so in like 357 days from now, we could do Batman Forever as our Christmas movie.
That is not a good idea.
What, are you kidding me? One of the greatest of all time.
Batman Forever?
No, Batman Returns.
You said Batman Forever.
Well, I meant Returns. I get them confused.
Yeah. I love Batman.
Well, which one's
Returns.
Forever? That's the Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones. Jim Carrey as the Riddler rocks.
Yeah.
Loved it. Tommy Lee Jones is the Two-Face. Meh. But
I mean, I think we've got to get to Nolan's Batman. We've got to get into that trilogy.
We will.
But you know, so it takes us through 66, and it has us end up in this Batman, which defines it. Then we go off the rails. Then out of nowhere, Christopher Nolan brings it back, and then we think this is amazing. And then towards the end, people are like, "Oh, I don't know if I like the third one as much as I like the whatever." And then we take a little pause, and then we get the Batman, and that brings us into kind of modern times and a different vibe, and goes even darker than any Batman that's ever been made, and mirrors a lot of what's going on in the comics at the time. And we are eventually going to get the Batman 2, right? Lots of rumors about who the villains will be. We've got to wait a little bit longer for that. But yeah, this is
episode 145 of In Madness Pod, Batman 1989. Boom, boom, boom. Awesome. Vicky,
yeah.
We don't need it. No way.
I feel like Shawn's trying to like break his own personal record of.
I'm cutting things. This is what I'm doing from movies. And if I cut it and you want to highlight it, just bring me back and highlight it. But I'm just going to be cut. Yeah,
I get a little sad when you cut things that I think are like the really, really cool, but I'll bring them up anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. I'll try to keep it in. But I went over these notes like 3 times. I had it up so many pages, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna get this done. We're gonna have to make this a 2-parter, and we're gonna break our New Year rule of making it a 2-parter.
Well,
got to make this a 1-parter, and we did.
Well, there is a film potentially coming up, not the next film, but the film after that
might have to be
potentially coming up.
Yeah,
may have to be a 2-parter, depending on how the vote. Depending on how the vote goes.
No, but, I think it's already there.
Shawn, did you get on all your gnarly bits about Batman? Look at that. I'm flipping the script on you.
I got my gnarly bits. I got our milking of the alpacas moment. I love this movie. I love Jack Nicholson. Heavy Jack Nicholson vibes on the podcast for now and the future, as things are looking good. I like that we hit 2 Tim Burton movies within the span of like 2 months. Check out our Edward Scissorhands episode if you haven't yet. Me and Vertebrae cried on each other's shoulders. It was beautiful, beautiful time. But yeah, this is our second Batman movie we've hit. We started this podcast years ago covering The Batman, one of our favorite episodes. Yeah, this was so good. I miss my toys. I miss that feeling of being 6 years old and walking out of the movie theater, you know, doing whatever stupid shit I was probably doing, and just like, Yeah, just this brings me back, man. This brings me back, and this is one that we need on our list to say that we have covered, and I'm glad we have covered it. And we'll get a little darker for our next movie for sure, which is going to be a vertebrae movie, but it's not going to be our next episode. Our next episode is just going to be one where we maybe read some emails or just talk about some cool things that we got.
Mm-hmm. But our next film we'll tease on the next episode. We don't have to
Correct.
tease it now. We don't have to tease it now. But
did you get all your gnarly bits in for Batman?
I did.
All your Vicky Vale bits that you wanted to get. Yeah,
so many Vicky Vale bits. I didn't do a deep dive on all the nuggets of this movie and Batman, and I did a little more of it for the Batman when we did it back in the day, but I just feel like it was more just cool to kind of talk about this movie in general and what was going on in culture, what was going on in film at the time, and the impact that it had on everybody.
Jack Nicholson is the joke with his eyebrows are like triangles.
So I have to ask you, Shawn, is he your favorite Joker?
Yeah, and yes, because I get that Heath Ledger was still like the greatest of all time, but Jack Nicholson was like that again. My Batman, my Joker. That's how it started for me. So he's like the original to me. I know Cesar Romero is the like whatever, but no, Jack Nicholson is my Joker, and then Heath Ledger.
Well, what about the Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill voiced Joker? On
another great, another great Joker. No, he's phenomenal. Yeah, no, but I'd say Nicholson first. Then Mark Hamill, then I guess. But I mean, it's different. Live action and
different. It's just a voice, but it's way down the line is that other Joker that was around. I'm not crazy about the standalone Joker film as much.
Oh, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I honestly tried to watch the second one just because I was like, I'm gonna try to do this. And then like even trying it, I was like, I can't do this.
I didn't see it. I saw the first one. It was fine. I think for me,
like greenlit and produced and made and spent money on and released, and like, how does that happen?
I think it's almost, for me, it's weird. Nicholson and Heath are just playing two completely different Jokers that it's hard for me to like put one ahead of the other, because there's certainly a lot of things that Nicholson does that Ledger doesn't get to, and vice versa. So I mean, they're right there as 1A and 1B for me. I don't like to rank anyway. And Mark Hamill does an incredible job with the voice on the animated series as well.
That's your man, Skywalker.
Yeah, he does a great job. That was kind of his like comeback a little bit, because he had sort of disappeared after those films. So
you good for episode 145?
That's it, kids. It's over.
My friends, I'm Batman. He's Vertebrae 33. I'm Shawn the Butcher. That was episode 145. We will see you next week for episode 146 in Madness Monday in Madness Pod.